Hello and welcome to IGN Anime Club. I'm Miranda Sanchez, and with me today, again for the second episode, is Alaina Yee.
Hello.
And Meghan Sullivan.
What's up, everybody?
And then joining us today is Max Scoville.
Hey.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good and
Thanks
good.
for coming on.
We
Yeah,
have
of course.
our first guest.
I'm thrilled to be here on the Anime Club.
I just made up a word, by the way. I said good and well at the same time, and it became gwell.
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 You sound like it's like a surprised noise to make.
Yeah,
Gwell.
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 It sounds like something you would actually hear.
Yeah, it's like a
One of those-
Professor Frankism kind of.
There you go.
Yeah,
Going
so
for you.
this is awesome. We're doing an anime podcast.
Yeah, finally.
No one ever wants to talk about anime with
I want
me.
to talk about anime.
Well,
Wait,
good.
what?
You've come to the right place, Max.
I would hope so. It'd be weird if it was like, actually, we're here to talk about your future,
Yeah.
your career. Like, this is a trap. This is a
This is actually
psych, it's an
performance
intervention.
review?
Like,
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
it's a terrifying thought.
So we're good.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Well,
what do we talk about? I don't know what you
so-
guys do here. Do you guys know what you do here? This is the second episode.
This is the second episode. It's like
You
baby
figured it out,
podcast.
yeah.
Yeah, we're still finding our way.
Mhm.
Got a lot of awesome feedback from you people. You guys
Yeah,
are
thank
awesome.
you so much for tweeting at
You
us
people.
and emailing questions and everything like that. It was super helpful, super positive feedback. So yeah, thanks so much for that.
Yeah, it
actually.
was super encouraging, like just getting everybody just saying really nice things on Twitter and just also in the comments. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, we're still shaking out the nerves a little bit, so it's still a little up and down, but we're going to smooth it out and be super awesome. Because
Yeah.
we kind of already had an awesome start, I thought. So, yep. So anyways, by the way, thank you for all the feedback on the poll about what we should watch for the anime watch party.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving the right answer, which is
Don't do it.
Oh,
No?
no,
It's
it's
not
not
the end of the
time
show.
yet. It's
Yeah.
it's a surprise.
surprise.
Surprise for the end of the
It's
show.
the right
So-
answer, though.
It is the right answer.
It's correct.
It is
Wow, that's so
inherently
cool.
It's Max
controversial
Scoville
in this office too, though, so we can talk about that.
Yeah, so
Exactly.
definitely have a lot of guess with that. I mean, you might know what that is based on what we just said, but
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yeah,
Keep
but
it a
whatever.
surprise for now.
Yes.
Yeah, so we kicked the news segment because we're like, let's talk about what we're watching instead. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's more important, I think.
Sure.
All right, Max is a new
Animes
guy, so
meant
we
to be
should haze
watched.
him and let him go first.
Okay.
Well,
What
So-
are you watching?
I'm constantly surrounded by all kinds of media, constantly. So I kind of lapse in and out of paying attention to anime, but I've been compulsively ordering any Studio Ghibli Blu-ray that goes up for order. I think I still have like 2 that are wrapped that I haven't rewatched, or like I just got Mononoke, which came out, and I haven't seen that since at least a decade ago. So I've been holding out for Blu-ray because like that's a movie that needs to be seen in like gorgeous, beautiful high def,
Yeah, so you get to re-experience it all over again.
Yeah, so I keep putting that off. Other than that, I'm actually probably about halfway through the first season, first box set of Ranma Half for the first time ever, which I'd never seen before.
Oh, you've never seen it before?
No, that was one of those ones that was always just kind of like, I mean, that was never on TV really, or if it was like kind of after I was kind of late to the party type of thing. But I remember I was always like back in the sort of dark ages of anime fandom. Like I'd be on like, hobby sites, modeling sites, whatever, and there'd be like Ranma Half stuff, and I'd be like, I don't know what that is. I don't get it. Don't fully grasp it. But somehow my fiance Jen had that was one of her things that she followed religiously. Like she got all the manga out of the library and was really into it. And I think she watched like pirated dubbed versions or
That's
fan
basically
sites
the
or
only
something.
way to
Yeah.
get it.
Basically, yeah. And it's weird to think that like there was a time like when that was you had to do that.
Yeah.
Like I mean before you could even download stuff when it was like you had
Yeah,
to
it's
go,
all.
like, find.
I still have like a collection of VHS tapes because back in the day you would have to find like a reputable like fan subgroup, and then you would basically like send them a check or a money order so that you would pay just for like the cost of the VHS tape. They were even charging for their time.
How insane is
And
that?
then they would in a few weeks they would send you back a package and you would get like the first like 4 episodes of like, I don't know, Marmalade Boy or whatever they were doing, right?
I had an even
So-
more ghetto system, which is my best friend in high school and I would have to go around to these Japanese rental stores in the Bay Area, and they would basically bootleg these things plus the commercials for anime and J-dramas and stuff like that. And so we would stumble onto new seasons of anime like Slayers and Sailor Moon because we went looking for Ray Earth, and they thought we meant Slayers.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and so they actually brought out the second season of Slayers Next, which we didn't even know was a thing. We were huge Slayers fans. So we flipped out, but you would get these crummy VHS tapes, and they would have like all the crazy Japanese commercials to go with it, which was super awesome. Those are super awesome. And yeah, but it was like, I don't even know if what we were doing was technically legal.
No.
It was like,
I mean,
it was a real rental store.
That was the best, though. I love that so much. Like, that's honestly the thing that I really miss about anime and just like in that culture. That's kind of what got me into it. Was this weird, mysterious like back corner of the comic shop or like Suncoast Video, and it was like stuff you didn't know what it was. Like,
yeah, where people were like hunched over with like coats and everything.
Really?
Where are they going?
I grew up
so
in
different for
rural
me.
Connecticut and like middle of nowhere. There was like the nearest place you could get anything remotely anime related was like an hour and a half drive away at this mall that had like. Looking at it now, I'm like, this is a crappy
It wasn't even Suncoast. It was
no,
like
it wasn't even that. It was like there was like the one place that was importing like DBZ action figures, and they had like bootleg Pokemon keychains and stuff. Like,
Oh, wow.
that's amazing.
yeah, it was rough. So then I moved to California, where an hour away is Japantown, and there's suddenly like all this stuff. But at that point, yeah, like the internet was more of a thing. But I would meet people like I went to summer camp. I remember this the one kid who like lived in New York, where you could go and find like fan subs and stuff, and he's like, "Have you seen Evangelion?" And I'm like, what is that? He's like, you have to see Evangelion. Have you seen Cowboy Bebop? And I'm like, no. And he's like, you have to see it. And he was like super pretentious about everything. And he had access to all the stuff that wasn't out yet. And he would buy like, I'd be like, getting into like high grade Gundam kits. And he's like, I have master grades. And I'm like, God, you're the worst guy. The worst man.
But hook me up anyway.
Yeah, basically. But I mean, his recommendations were all really solid, except for Black Hawk Down, which he really wanted me to read. And then I read it and I was like, this is awful. But yeah, like I don't know. I miss that kind of that mystery, like that VHS age of like of weirdness.
Yeah, there were so few people had seen Akira and Ghost in the Shell back in the day. And
Well, Akira, like that was my first exposure. That was my first exposure to anime, like because that was this is the closest thing we had. Is somebody had taped that off of when the Sci-Fi Channel would do like late midnight anime or whatever, like Japanimation night or whatever it was on like a Thursday, like pre-Adult Swim, pre any of that. And somebody had taped it and like I guess cut out the commercials, or else they bootleg like the original like video release, and we would just copy it. Like someone would bring a VCR to a friend's house and we'd like dub the tape. And my friend had this totally like beat to death VHS rip of Akira with the original like crappy Pioneer dub. That somebody had like with blue ballpoint pen like hand drawn in like fake Japanese writing like Akira on the back. That's probably what I watched more than I watch Akira basically religiously. Like I put that on a pretty regular basis, just kind of as like just background music. Like just
that was your entry point into anime.
Yeah, and so I mean I really miss that era of like I miss like the late 80s like just weird, I miss Japanimation, I guess you could say.
Right. Before it was mainstream.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I do think that there was definitely a little bit more of that community vibe, like that kind of homegrown kind of feel to it, because you were constantly you had to talk to people and trade tapes and that kind of stuff if you wanted access to certain things. Like, I remember watching, like, parts of seasons, not even the whole seasons, parts of seasons from Sailor Moon when it was, like, still, like, live in Chinese. Because that was like the closest you could get,
and
it was
like
hard to
and
it was like subtitled off the Chinese, which was already like a dub of the Japanese, which was kind of interesting sometimes because I would sit there and I would think, I'm not sure if this is actually an accurate translation anymore.
Yeah, and if you know Sailor Moon, you know it's already confusing. So then you'd get like the sub of the sub. No, I remember that because Deke back in the day only. I know we all sound so old, but it only had like the first season and a half dubbed and translated in America, and it was not a good translation. They ripped it up, they pieced it back together. It was super confusing, and but that was the only way you could get like the rest of Sailor Moon, like the second half of Sailor Moon R. It took me forever to find because you had to go through these fan subs and all these like weird channels, and I had the manga, but I couldn't read Japanese at the time, so I had no idea what was going on. Very pretty art style though, loved it.
What do you think of the new one? What's the consensus?
Oh God! So are we gonna have this conversation?
Yeah, we keep saying we're gonna put it off. I think because there's just so much to say, and a lot of it is not positive.
Yeah, but if you want to know, you can check out my reviews every other Saturday on IGN. There you go. There's my shameless plug for the day.
I need to catch up on that. I watched the first few episodes, and I think it looks like trash, but I like the pacing.
Yeah, the pacing is much faster. It follows the manga a lot better. But anyways, Alaina, what are you watching?
Oh, right now?
Yeah.
So I started Arslan Sekai. I think that's the name of it.
Yes.
Senkai. Yeah. Or Seki. That's Senki.
I have it written down, so I didn't have to remember. Arslan Senki.
Thank
I
you.
gotta see this in writing.
Yeah, so it was interesting. So like it's being like simultaneously broadcast in the States with Japan. So there's only 2 episodes up right now. I watched all the first one, and I got most of the way through the second one. Unfortunately, I've just been super busy this last week.
What's it
What's it
about?
about?
So okay,
Yeah,
so this is sorry, like
There's
I'll
really
refresh.
not much context in the title.
I know. I think the English title for it, the translation is called like The Heroic Legend of Arslan. So that might be a little easier than me randomly getting the Japanese title wrong. And this is the one we were talking about last week,
Right.
Megan and I, about this basically follows the story of this, prince. Like he's very young in this very prosperous kingdom, and then like it all goes wrong, and now he's basically on this like path to, I wouldn't say redemption, but I think like trying to bring his kingdom back to where it was.
Yeah.
And Megan was saying that this is actually based on ancient Persian legend.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's actually
kinda
based
cool,
on
that
an 18th
historical angle.
century story that was based further back in actual ancient Persia, and you can tell because the area that they're in looks like Persia, and it's like this mix of like Islam sort of buildings, but then like more ancient stuff from Persia, and it's actually really, really interesting. So we both watched the first episode, and we thought the first episode was a little slow. Arslan's a little timid, but I haven't seen the
even
second
just a
episode. But you were
little.
saying it picks up.
Well, it's really, so this series is really interesting to me so far, because even in the first episode, like it's kind of this introduction, right? Like here are like your principal characters, here's kind of like the framework of what their personalities are, and Arslan as the main character is kind of portrayed in this very, I wouldn't say even a little timid, like very timid, almost like I was telling Megan just before we started filming, which is the whole like borderline shoujo heroine, like what do I do kind of like personality, which was totally not my thing, and I was like, ugh.
Shinji getting the damn robot.
Yeah.
Just come on, yeah.
So but I was like, okay, I gotta hang in there. I gotta watch at least like 3 or 4 episodes, like give this time to like develop. But even that first episode, there's like these random flashes. Like the violence is really brutal. I don't know if you noticed that.
No,
but, like,
I did. It's interesting art direction too.
Very,
so it goes
yeah.
along with that.
What's like the production value? Does it seem like it's gonna be? Is it? I'm guessing it's weekly or.
Yeah, it's weekly.
Okay. Do you think it's like kind of like smaller scale, like 26 episode type of thing, or is it gonna be like a big sprawling like 52?
No, I think this is gonna be contained from what I understand about
That's
it.
always that's honestly my big thing is like I don't really want to get into an ongoing anime series if it's going to wind up being this this trudge,
Yeah, I would say for me, like at the 26 to like 50 range is okay, but once it starts getting beyond that, then it gets a little really hard to also introduce your friends to it, because
Yeah, totally.
they're like, there's 100 episodes. Like, I'm not going to do that. I had a friend who's just getting into anime now, and he looked at One Piece. He's like, there's 600 episodes.
Yep.
No, there's
Yeah,
almost
I'm trying to get into
700.
Dragon Ball
I
Z,
know.
and I'm having the same problem where I'm like, how many episodes?
I don't
are
even
there?
recommend the Dragon Ball Z as a anime to anybody.
Yeah, it's
Like,
just,
just
it's
read the
super
manga. Like,
intimidating.
yeah.
Yeah,
So much of that is like that.
but in terms of production value, I mean, speaking of the contrast, Sailor Moon Crystal versus this, like this is very polished. Like I think the animation's great.
I think
actually, for
anything
this.
compared to Sailor Moon Crystal is
That's
polished.
true.
Well, the problem with
That's
Sailor
true.
Moon
That
is
is
that,
like, that's like bottom of the barrel.
Toy.
they never had any any opportunity to monetize Sailor Moon. There were no obvious merchandising angles.
Well, I
or
mean,
No,
maybe they
none
not
at all.
Yeah, obviously. I mean,
We're going down
There's
the
obviously
Pikachu
funding.
down.
No,
Pikachu down,
this is
my bear.
Pikachu. Sorry, video. But,
Come on, Professor Pikachu, stay up.
But yeah, so
There he goes.
so far, like that first episode, like the contrast is really interesting with that violence, and then I feel like with episode 2, like it kind of starts to flip, right, where you just start to see like things kind of get real, and so I'm actually super interested to see where this is heading now.
That's so cool that we're getting simulcast like Japanese and
That
so
blows
nice.
my mind.
I
Is it on-
cannot
blows
wrap my head
mind.
around it.
Is it on Crunchyroll or?
It's on Funimation.
This
so
one's
Okay.
on Funimation.
It's basically
Okay.
if you have Funimation and a Crunchyroll account, like you are set almost.
Yeah, you just
for,
you want anime. You're
Yeah, for simulcast, you're pretty much set, which is nice now. Instead of having to be like, whoa, let me search these 12 sites and hopefully find a good version of this, like subtitles and.
I hope that
Clear quality.
like fan sub VHS collecting becomes like the hipster like anime thing, like in the same like, oh, I don't do CDs or MP3s, I just collect vinyl. Like I just want people to be like, yeah, I'm gonna meet some people.
I still have my
Back from the
Slayer's
video,
VHS.
so-
I have a corner of my room dedicated to this. I've got a CRT TV,
Oh, God.
VHS
There's something wonderful about that though.
player.
So I missed that time
Yeah.
with the VHSs. I just watched it on TV because I was like growing up with the Toonami era. So
Yeah,
I'd watch
totally.
Sailor Moon. After school, watch Cardcaptor Sakura and a little Dragon Ball Z, even though my parents didn't want me to because it was kind of violent.
Aww.
They were like, no, it's violent. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Mostly people just
But-
shouting at each other
Yeah.
and glowing a lot.
screaming.
A lot of screaming.
A lot of screaming.
lot of screaming.
They had this great approach to dubbing where anytime somebody's mouth was open, they just made noise come out of it. Just
Well,
anytime.
there's so much lip flap with Japanese animation because they animate first and then they add the dub. So it's kind of hard. You have to sort of jump over that hurdle. So that must have been fun.
Yeah.
And voice actors have no idea what the hell is going on in any of these. Like I've talked to voice actors and they're like, yeah, when you do these things, it's not like a whole script that you get. Like it's just stuff thrown at you constantly. You're wild lining. You don't know who you're talking to or why you have to make it up as you go along. My hat off to anyone who has to do dubs for animation because they're super tough.
Yeah.
I would say just anyone who does voice acting for animation, like hats off. I've heard of stories, crazy stories, where like people pass out in the video booth because like the audio recording booth because they're screaming for so
Yeah.
long and for so loudly.
It's a lot of effort.
and like they just like they run out of air.
yeah.
So I always get in arguments with people about subs versus dubs. Like I just don't like. I don't think it's right. Like I understand that some people like it to, it's just more accessible. Like you don't have like you can look at what's going on the screen, but you're not having to pay attention to the words. But I'm all for kind of like I want the most accurate literal translation of what's being said.
Yeah, a lot of times like you can miss really big jokes and themes if you don't have like the more direct translation. Whereas dubs, you have to interpret it to make like like they were saying, the mouse move like more proper with.
It's a square peg, round hole kind of thing.
Right.
But I don't know. This is a topic that we'll actually tackle in future episodes. But also, some things just don't translate. There's no exact translation, and so I feel really bad for whoever has to translate that and make it work because there is no direct translation. It's not going to be funny in English regardless.
Yeah, I like the ones that like I love. One thing I love about fan subs is when they would go to the like a ton of effort to throw in like context. Like
Oh, yeah,
Excel
they'll add, like-
Saga was nuts
They'll
for
put
that.
like footnotes.
Yeah,
everywhere.
Yeah, but
it'd
it's
be like here's the thing in
everywhere.
parentheses, like, oh, this is actually a pun on this. This means this, and it's like that's really helpful.
Yeah. I remember my sister went to go see Frozen in Japan, and so of course it's in Japanese. It's kind of cool. And during Olaf's main song, where he's singing about summer, there's a pun about him melting into a puddle, but then he doesn't say that. He just says something else. And that's like kind of funny in English and stuff, but that didn't translate in Japanese because it doesn't rhyme or something. It didn't fit in the lyrics. So like my sister was like laughing at that part because she's like, oh, I know what's going to happen kind of thing. And then everyone was like, what?
Yeah.
It's not funny anymore. So it's kind of weird like looking at how things translate and how things move over whenever you have to change into a different language and how some jokes just don't work.
Yeah, lost in translation.
Yeah.
Totally.
What are you watching, Miranda?
I'm watching
Everything?
Nisekoi and everything. Yeah.
Pikachu.
I love that look on your face. Like, what am I not
It's like,
watching?
God. Yeah, no, I'm trying to catch up with everything. So, like, one of my goals, like I said last episode, is I always try to watch, like, the first show of everything. Because I want to see what's out there, what's kind of still popular. And also, I just want to be able to live in conversation. Because I have a lot of friends who watch, like, so many different shows. So, it's kind of nice to just have that extended reach and just know what's going on.
I like I'm a little bit out of touch. What's Nisekoi?
So, Nisekoi is a harem.
Uh-oh.
But it's
Oh.
the best. It's so because it's such a great like love story. Like it comes like the characters and like the development, the plot comes first before the crazy. Oh well, I have so many women at my feet, kind of thing. And it just does such a good job with making all of these relationships feel more natural and organic and not just forced. So that's kind of my big thing with that. This is the second season that just started, so I've been like, yeah, Nisekoi. And my sister like, yeah, Nisekoi. And so that finally came out, and it was great. So a big thing with this is kind of like picking your side, like who you want the main character to end up with. And I am super big on Onodera, and I'm really happy that people agree with me in some of the comments. I was like, yeah, unite. But another popular... yeah, I know.
I'm like, well,
Duck.
Is she a Betty or a Veronica?
She's more like the old friend. Like this guy the main character's had a crush on her for a very long time. Like she's really shy. She's just like really sweet, nice character. And you could say the other main protagonist, even more so than Onodera, is Chitoge. And she's a tsundere, kind of female character in this. So she just like hates him. It's like really mean to him. And then I don't want to like spoil it, but like kind of, with harems go, all the women eventually start falling for the main guy, and so that happens. But it's It's really sweet. It's done really well.
Have they done a bathhouse episode yet? Or
It's
hot
almost,
springs?
it's almost
Think
obligatory,
so.
right?
Yeah.
That there has to be like a whole thing where everyone has this awkward moment in the hot tub kind of thing, or in the hot springs.
So, just to give you guys like a feeling of what this is and why it's so awesome. So the main protagonist is the son of a gang, and then Chitoge is the daughter of another rival gang, and their parents have them kind of like enter a relationship for like gang benefit kind of thing for their feuding gangs to like
kind of
stop.
Romeo and Juliet type
Yeah,
of thing.
so like
but-
it's that.
Except their
So
parents
it's,
want them
encouraged,
to get it.
yeah.
yeah. So it's
It's a political marriage.
yes, but they're dating and they're in high school and it's really awkward. They're like, I don't want to date him. Like Chitoge's new to the school and he's just like, man, I don't like. She's really popular because she's like blonde and like just really pretty and he's like, oh, I guess I have to date her. And they just don't get along and it's just really funny. And then all the other characters that kind of get introduced all have like ties with the main character and it's just so good. Check it out. It's a great romance. So, and it's so funny. Like this first episode, I feel bad because I have a studio apartment and my boyfriend was playing like Dota or something. And I was just like cracking up. And then my friend was like, what is she watching? Because like they could hear me like through his mic. I was like, sorry. So, but yeah, it is just, it's really good. I definitely recommend it. Another show that I've been really watching, I mean, it's like the first episode. I think the second one comes out this week, is Ore Monogatari. I talked about that last week. I think it's called My Love Story in English. So that one's more of a shoujo, but it is so good. It's also just like a super funny romantic comedy. So the premise, again, if you guys missed it from last episode, you have this guy who's just kind of run-of-the-mill, normal guy, and he has a best friend who all the girls fall in love with all the time. And so he kind of develops relationships with some of these women, and he wants to like be friends with them, or he kind of gets romantic interest. And then his friend, they always swoop in and like, oh, I like your friend, kind of thing. And he's like, oh. And so this one time, finally, the premise revolves around him and this other girl who finally has interest in him, but he mistakes it for her having interest in his best friend. So it's like, aw.
Boys are stupid.
Yeah. So it's just really cute. And so those are probably the two that I'm most excited for.
Is there any magic
Kinda.
or anything, or the
No,
robots?
it's just
Nothing?
like high school.
I love how you
cute
could
thing.
you could like absolutely 100% describe so many different series with just totally the personality premise,
Yeah.
and just ignore like Tenchi Muyo. You could have just described that to me to a certain extent, like with the harem one, whatever. Like, but it's like, oh, also there's like a space empire and some demons.
Yeah.
Lightsabers, just stuff like that. But
What a cabbage.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there's so much. Those are probably the ones I remember most right now. Like there's like tons that I've been watching. Food Wars. Actually, it's kind of like food porn, more extent than.
Oh, we're back to
Gourmet
food
Girl.
porn.
Yeah, go make.
What?
Okay, so
You
so
have
last
Max's
season.
full attention.
I'm at a point where I need to either watch like the just complete dumbest anime or like really really good anime. Like I can't
Yeah.
do anything that falls kind of in the middle. Like I need to go one way or the other.
So it's kind of nice to have a balance of like just both of those at the same time, and I kind of like having that. So you have like your completely serious, really emotional, like plastic memories. It's like, oh, this is like really heart wrenching. Talked about that other show last week. It's about androids and when the androids become defective, and you have to go take them away
Oh
from their
god, all the
families.
crying.
Oh my god, it's
Okay.
it's really good, and like, I haven't seen the second episode. And I've heard like mixed on that, but that was like first episode was amazing.
So I love that kind of. Is it like romantic android stuff, or is it just kind of like?
It's not really. You can kind of see that there might be some romance
Okay.
with some of the characters, but the big premise is how to cope with taking, android family member away from people when they start becoming defective.
I kind of love that. I mean, that's really one of my favorite things in sci-fi. Probably, I don't really think about it too hard, but like the humanization of androids, like artificial people or whatever. I love the idea of chobits. I never really got into it. It kind of gets just too weird for me. But
I liked it. It's been a long time.
Did you ever see Video Girl Eye?
Mm-mm.
So that's about like this lonely guy who like finds this mysterious enchanted porn store, and he like he rents this video. Then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go home and watch this," and he pops it in, and then like a girl comes out of his TV like in the friggin' ring, and he's all like, "Oh," and I think she gets like I haven't seen it in a million years, but I think something happens and it like lightning strikes, or he spills a soda on the TV or something, and like she's somehow defective. And so she's like, instead of being like, oh, I'll be like your perfect your video girl lover or whatever, she winds up just like basically being sort of like a life coach and telling him to get his act together.
Gosh.
Aw.
What's the name of that 80s movie? Was it Weird Science?
It's very weird. It's very weird science.
It's totally Weird Science.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a second, I know this plot.
Like I kind of love it. It's so problematic, you know. Like there's so much wrong with that, but I kind of love the idea of basically trying to actually put some humanity in a situation like that.
Yeah, it's always interesting when they tackle those themes. I just love Android stories too.
Yeah.
Like,
There's
Absolute
a-
Boyfriend is a hilarious manga.
Oh, I loved Absolute
Yeah,
Boyfriend.
Absolute Boyfriend is awesome. Where basically this girl inadvertently buys this very expensive, like the perfect boyfriend, but he's basically like a doll slash android, and it's all about like he's supposed to be perfect, and she's. I only read the first couple of mangas. I don't know how it ends, but it's pretty hilarious. But it's the same thing about like androids and dolls and like giving them humanity and the consequences of that, which is super interesting.
There's actually a comic right now. It's an American comic from Image called Alex and Ada, which kind of does the same thing, where like this guy gets like a, you know, like an android companion as a gift after he like has like a bad breakup or something, and he's like doesn't want to. Like he's like not into it, or he like turns her on or something, and she's like, "Hi, I'll do whatever you tell me to. I eat food just like you, and you have to let me recharge." You know, just all this stupid android stuff, and he's all awkward about it, and then he's like, "I don't want this," and they're like, "Okay, well, we're gonna wipe her memory," and she's like, it's like that moment where he's like, "Oh, but maybe she's a person," and you're like, "Oh, just stop." It's okay. It's there's some stuff wrong with it.
I feel like we're so close to having that really happen, though. I mean, it's a little eerie how much Siri and like all these different like navigators on your car and stuff like know stuff. Like it's getting a little creepy, you know, where it's.
Oh, that's not even the creepy part. Sorry, like so this is my like realm, right? The whole tech stuff where it's like the simple AI, like that kind of stuff, like just being able to like talk to your talk to your phone, or like just have your car automatically drive. Like that's pretty simple stuff. Like the scary stuff is like watching like. So they at CES this year, like they were showing that NVIDIA was showing like this demo of like a car, like having this like car technology, basically like being able to like use a video camera and like say like that's a pedestrian, that's a bicyclist, like you could almost hit that person there. There's a police car right there.
What happens
like,
if somebody hacks that?
Like that is
Wow.
the scary stuff. Like actually seeing like a computer basically like think for itself the way like a human would.
And this
like,
is how Skynet comes to be.
Exactly. That's the
That's
reason
fine.
why there are a bunch of super smart tech people out there saying like, you guys should be careful about like the deep learning AI. Like,
Cute.
yeah.
Yep.
It's so cool. I love it.
She's Team Skynet, everybody.
That's fine. Robots,
Team Matrix.
robots can do better things, maybe. Clean up.
I'm trying to think if there's anything
Wasteful.
else. What do you guys think of that? Well, it's kind of a. I think we're all gonna go the same direction here. What do you guys think of that Ghost in the Shell movie with Scarlett Johansson allegedly as Motoko Kusanagi?
Wait and see approach.
That's an Irish name, isn't it? Kusanagi. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
pretty
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You
Yeah.
know, it's like Akira being cast, you know. with- yeah.
So yeah, I so annoyed at that. I was digging around. There was this video that went really viral little while ago that was called like The Behemoth, and it was like a proof of concept, like gorgeous special effects short of these guys who were basically hunting space whales to use their like it's these guys in spaceships hunting
Star Trek
giant
4?
think more Dune, like they're in like
like
spaceships and they're
Dune,
hunting
okay.
these
Like-
big space worm
It's
things.
like Moby Dick. Like,
yeah, no, it's very
But
it
in
has-
space?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the pitch. And it looks awesome.
Were the whales named George and Gracie? That's what I want to know.
You
Star
gotta-
Trek
you gotta
fans,
look
you
it
know
up.
what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
All right.
But basically the guy who put it was up on Vimeo, and it was just this really gorgeous like short kind of live action CG thing, whatever. But I was digging through his stuff, and I found that he had a pitch reel for the live action Akira project that was like something that he'd been showing internally in like 2007, and I was like, how did this not come in front of me? And I guess it popped up a little bit, but like that's the kind of thing I'd expect to see like front paged everywhere. Like, here's what this could have looked like.
Yeah.
And the first thing he showed was like he recut the Akira trailer to like kind of just basically be like, here's the basic demo, like here's what we're dealing with. And then the second part was live action sequences that would kind of just sort of give a sense of like from existing movies, like it was like a lot of Transformers and some Resident Evil and just like stuff that has kind of similar aesthetic to parts of Akira. And then at the very like the last like 2 minutes or whatever, this was just a few really quick effect shots of what he thought Akira could look like. And like, as much as I don't want a bunch of white people racing around New York and calling it Akira, like it looked really cool seeing Kaneda's bike in like a live action setting.
It's always cool to see the pitches for live action anime, especially if it's done in like America. Like you have like American directors or just like fans doing it. There's some really cool Sailor Moon live action films out there. They're just like fan made films. It's like,
wasn't there gonna be?
Yeah, Gina Davis was gonna be Queen Beryl. I already know where you're going. Like they were going to make Sailor Moon movie, and I think it was Alicia Silverstone. I can't talk. Sorry. Was going to be Sailor Moon, and then I think they had just thought about signing on Gina Davis as Queen Beryl, if I'm remembering this correctly.
That sounds awesome. That sounds really
and
cool.
And then somebody was like, "Are we actually going to greenlight this? I don't think we should." And so they scrapped it, which might have been a good thing, but I don't know. I always wonder about
What was that? Like late 90s?
Yeah.
Did you ever see the? There's like a really like grimy old like camera footage from some convention where they're showing off what I think like the American remake of Sailor Moon as a cartoon was going to be like.
oh my god, that was awful.
Oh, it's so good. I love that.
so
I love
bad.
it. There's another one that was going to be an American Gundam show, but it was going to be like basically like what if like SD Gundams were Pokemon? And it was like there's like a freaking like super deformed Gundam that's like the size of like a bear maybe.
So-
and then it's hanging out with like a kid in a wheelchair. Like they've got all these it was like the Burger King Kids Club, but if they had like little super deformed Gundam as
Oh my gosh.
pocket monsters.
That's
So-
amazing.
So the Sailor Moon one was half animation, half live action.
That's right.
And so when they're just like normal kids, they were live action. And like there was a kid in a wheelchair. There was some, I think, a Hispanic girl. Like just like a bunch of like random people that looked nothing like the anime characters or anything similar to it. And then when they transformed, which was really weird, they do like the animated part, and it was just really bad. I'm like, what? So that's why.
It's
that's
nice
just-
to know that Hollywood every once in a while will actually turn down a terrible idea.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of like? I think like Megan Fox is like a big anime fan,
Right.
but I think she's also insane. Like,
Well, yeah, we knew that.
I mean, I think that like she's been like, yeah, I wanna be in the Evangelion movie. Like, I wanna be.
Didn't
Sailor
you say she
Moon.
wanted to be Sailor Moon at one point?
I think so.
No.
No.
Too old.
Oh God, it'd be so
Also,
good
just
though.
no.
I kind of love the idea of like of like an older Serena. Like, you ever see Young Adult with God, it was a Diablo Cody movie where like it was
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I forgot her name, but she was the lady from Monster. But she basically was like a young adult writer who wrote all those like Beverly Cleary kind of novels, but she did it like ghostwriting it. But she basically curated her life to be like what she thought a cool woman would be like as a teenager. But she was like stunted as like in that like Mean Girls like high school mentality, and then she goes like to her high school reunion or something, and it's just horrifying, and she's got like a horrible drinking problem, and just it's just really screwed up. I love the idea of like maybe the Sailor Scouts grow out of it, you know, but Serena doesn't, you know, and she's like a hot mess, and that's where you get Megan Fox.
That's
Oh God.
what happened to Tuxedo Mask? Did he just like divorce her?
He's got a wife and kids.
He's got a wife and kids, but it's
settles
not
down with-
actually,
he settles down with
anything
Amy
to
or
get
whatever.
Chibiusa out of the picture is fine by me. Or Chibiusa is like
Oh God.
an awkward teenager
Oh yeah.
who has her own issues.
Oh, that'd be so cool. That'd be so weird.
Yeah, she's totally, what was it, Black Lady, but she's even more
yeah.
like punk rock and even more weird about her. I don't know. That show is still really super weird to me, and I love Sailor Moon. I watch it every other week now, and I'm still not sure what the hell is
It's
going
kind
on.
of weird to think how young a lot of anime characters are, and if you put them in live action, it's like how young would you have to cast people to be accurate?
Yeah.
And they probably wouldn't. But
Also, I love how screwed up it is. They're like, here's a bunch of kids. Let's have them do this stuff. It's like, yeah,
Yep.
what could go wrong?
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah, I'm looking over like this list of anime that I binge watched over the past week, and a lot of it is high school protagonists, which as you get older, gets harder and harder to relate to. We talked a little bit about this last week, but it's interesting because young people had that super enthusiasm and that gung-ho attitude, so it also makes sense in context that, yeah, but adults are going to be super cynical, and they're not going to have time, they have to think about their families, whereas young people are like, I have nothing to lose and everything to gain, I'm just going to go out and do it.
It's also like, I mean, teenagers, obviously we have teenagers watching and listening. When you're a teenager, your brain is like going crazy. Like when you were an adolescent, like your synapses are like rewiring themselves. You are having hormones go all over the place. Like you're having basically like a Big Bang Theory thing happen inside your head. And everything is the most important thing and the most tedious thing, and no one takes you seriously, and it makes you basically are an anime character.
You really are. So it does actually make sense.
Yeah. That's why Evangelion's so great. Like that's why it's that they all act like teenagers. It all makes sense. They're all freaking out constantly.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Because usually whenever you get the kind of like super mech kind of war show, the kids tend to be a lot more mature, or the complete opposite of like babies. And Evangelion found that really good middle ground of portraying like actual teenagers in this crazy situation.
Well, it's like a beautiful like allegory for adolescence. You're like, everything's the end of the world. Oh, but what if it is?
Well, I'm
Shinji,
interested
get
to
in the
see where
robot.
Gunslinger Stratos is going, because I watched the first episode of that, which is one of the new spring shows, and it's the same thing where it's like it's teenagers, but they live in a universe that's parallel to another universe, and they're basically going to be pit against their alter ego, which I find really, really interesting. So, like, the main character, Toru, and his, not girlfriend per se, but she really likes him, they get thrown into this other universe, and they're going to have to basically take on, like, themselves. And it's this whole crazy thing that I really dig the animation, I dig the art style, and although they're teenagers, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that they're going to be stuck in this crazy situation that they're going to have to get out of, and they're going to have to be adults, so it's like they're playing paintball, and it sort of establishes at the beginning they're handy with weapons but not real weapons. What do you do when you're actually faced with your older, more cynical self, and they're out to kill you?
That sounds like something that I was just like, if I could meet my teenage self, I would kick my own ass.
Well, the character in this actually gets that opportunity. It's sort of interesting to see how these two alter egos collide, because they're both assigned with basically killing each other. So I thought that was a super interesting concept.
This all happens in the first episode?
Well, in the first episode, like, without spoiling it too much for those who haven't seen it, but basically these high school kids live in this very strict future society, and they haven't really gotten into how this happens, but basically these two kids get thrown into this other dimension, this parallel universe, and at the end of the episode, it's Toru, somebody's shooting at them in this abandoned building, and they're running around, and when the perpetrator turns around, it's himself. And it flips him out, and so he's petrified. He has no idea what's going on. That's where the first episode ends, which is a great cliffhanger. So it makes me want to watch the second episode to see what the heck is going to happen. It's sort of like where I stopped in Daredevil, because I finished episode 5, and it's a really good cliffhanger, and now I have to watch the rest of the show to find out what happens.
Daredevil is one of the best animes that's on.
Yeah, it really is.
Computer these days.
It's basically an action. It's a live action anime.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that actually, if we want to go there, that the comics draw heavily from Lone Wolf and Cub. So that was Frank Miller. He was way ahead of the curve there.
Yeah, he was super ahead of the curve. So that's pretty cool.
Yay, Daredevil.
Yes, exactly. I also watched, what else did I watch? So I watched Arslan Senki. I found Steins Gate online, because you were recommending that. That is a bizarre show. I have no idea what the hell is going on.
Why do I know that name?
So,
someone was telling me about this.
I didn't really get to describe it last show very well.
Maybe
but
that's it.
Yeah, Steins Gate is like the sci-fi kind of time travel adventure. It's so good. So it started off as a visual novel, and then the show focuses on this older college student scientist and another scientist who comes from America. I think she's half Japanese, and them trying to figure out time travel. Like, they have this microwave that turns bananas blue. Like, it's been a while since I've watched it.
What?
It's just, yeah, I know. That's the reason you need to watch it. No, but and all this wacky stuff, and they kind of figure out that this weird microwave thing that they're using is kind of doing weird time things, and like all these other events just kind of happen, and the protagonist has to figure out what's going on with time, and then it gets in this really like crazy, trippy time travel thing at the end, and it's just amazing.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's insane to begin with, or all this time travel stuff is making him insane or more insane, but it's this really crazy concept of time travel and how it affects your sanity. And I love Rintaro's friend Itaru, who's sort of the large computer hacker who kind of anchors the entire show for me, because it's so, you've got Rintaro, who's, kind of crazy, and then his really super annoying friend Mayuri.
No, she's the best.
She's the worst. She reminds me of Miyaka from Fushigi Yugi, and that's a problem. Which, by the way, the dub, it's the same voice actress, who's a good voice actress, but it takes me back to Fushigi Yugi and my absolute hatred for Miyaka. I hate that ditzy anime girl who's clumsy and stupid, and
No, you will learn to love her.
But she has a good heart.
Is so good.
Great, that's fantastic. I don't care. She needs a brain.
No, she does. She's
so
so
dumb.
sweet. Don't hate my Yuri. She's so cute.
Well, I'm still watching. Well, we'll see. But yeah, I don't know why they always have to have these certain archetypes in anime, and that's the one that gets me. Like, there's that one character type that you're like, oh no, they're in this show, and they're in every show, and there's always the really, really dumb high school girl where I'm just like, no, don't. So I'm hoping there's a story arc with her where she becomes more mature and awesome. She's not gonna say. So I'll have to keep watching to find out. But yeah, starting to get good stuff. Yeah, no spoilers.
There should be a game. This should be a game show just called Anime Poker, where everyone describes an anime that they're watching, but they're making it up. And you have to figure out at what point is this real. Like, it's just do you bring a real one to the table or no?
That'd be pretty good.
I feel like anime covers every genre. And
That's gonna be really hard.
There's it's so it's one of those things where you put it on paper and you're like, what am I saying?
So,
yeah.
For
and
instance,
then it makes sense.
Samurai Pizza Cats is hitting Blu-ray. That's a show about a bunch of cats that live in a giant gun that makes pizzas, but also it shoots them out of it in samurai armor because a crow runs the city's crime.
Syndicate.
Yeah. So the bad news there is it's all 52 episodes of this classic are hitting, and this is exactly what I want. This is a dumb old show. It is hitting Blu-ray, but it's all 52 episodes in standard definition, presumably on one disc or two discs or something, and it's dubbed. I don't know if they don't have a release date yet. The company doing this is called Discotech, so
I've never heard of them.
they're a little bit behind the curve, but hey, they got Samurai Pizza Cats.
So I was reading about that, and was that one Samurai Pizza Cats made in America? And but it was based off a different anime in Japan.
Is it?
That's what I read.
That's what I thought.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually an American show that was based off a Japanese anime.
Then how's it?
Because
I
I
don't
vaguely
know.
remember that being on TV.
Well,
I mean, I think it might have been one of those very heavy localizations where they're like, let's gut this and sort of
Probably.
let's mess it up a little bit.
Yeah. It's kind of weird how a lot of the older anime, that's pretty much what happened to all of them. Like, you look at Sailor Moon and all these other things, like, there's so many big differences between the American versions and the Japanese versions.
Didn't they re-release
Like,
Dragon Ball Z based on that? Like, they had the original 90s show and then they re-released it as something else. Am I wrong about
So
that?
the thing that I started writing a thing about this, Dragon Ball Z is like, that's the second half of Dragon Ball. Like, the manga's all called Dragon Ball.
Just Dragon
It's just
Ball.
straight through. And it makes sense because they explain what Dragon Balls are and who everyone is. Dragon Ball Z starts out and basically that's the second Goku has a kid. Like, that's kind of the dividing part there. It also takes kind of a few things happen. He has a kid. They introduce the idea that he's an alien, like the whole Saiyan thing. They go to outer space and all that. Basically, it just becomes bigger than the Earth, and everyone becomes way too powerful. Like, it's all much more heavy emphasis on fighting. Regular Dragon Ball is more kind of cartoony, like comedy stuff, but it kind of takes more of an action twist. But the fact that Dragon Ball Z was released stateside, and they were like, "Hi, welcome to this new cartoon show, children who can't really make sense of normal concepts, let alone really, really weird concepts. Here is the hero of your show. Everyone knows who he is and what his deal is. You don't, but that's okay. We won't try to explain it too hard. Also, here's this guy Piccolo. They hate each other. We're not going to explain why. Everyone else kind of hates everyone else too, but we're not going to really get into that too much. Like, it's just everyone has a pre-existing relationship when Dragon Ball Z starts. Like, you could not be like, I mean, I guess that's how do you like?
That's exactly what happened to me. Is a couple months ago, I was like, I should really get in Dragon Ball, and everyone's like, oh, you don't need to watch Dragon Ball. It's not as good as Dragon Ball Z. I started watching the first two episodes. What the hell is? I'll name names later.
Oh my god!
I'll name names later.
Read the comic. Just start at the beginning of the comic and work your way through it. It does not waste your time. It's lovely. It stops to explain jokes. It's just.
But it was inadvertently funnier because I had no idea what was going on. So I couldn't figure out people's names. So I was like, well, Underwear Man is mad at, I think his name is Goku, and then Monkey Boy over there is being kidnapped by Underwear Man. And I would make up names. I would live tweet this a couple of months back. I was like live tweeting these episodes because I was like, I don't know what's going on.
Also,
I got to make fun of it.
The other thing is, like, they didn't really localize it acknowledging that it's supposed to be funny, but it sort of is. Like, everyone's named after vegetables.
Yeah.
Like, this guy shows up and he's like, "Hi, I'm Radish. Carrot, come with me." And he's like, "What? You're actually from the distant vegetable planet, you know?" Like, what?
Yeah, I mean, it's still an awesome like anime. Like, I can see that, but if you don't know Dragon Ball, you're like, all right, not only is this awesome action, but I have no idea what's going on. I'm just gonna make it up as I go along.
It's completely like I can understand why it's inaccessible to people, because I think it's kind of like how like professional wrestling is one of those things that I just don't really know where to start. I don't get it. Like, you're into wrestling, right?
I'm huge into wrestling.
And like, I'm guessing you just kind of started as a kid. You didn't really think too hard about it. You just kind of jumped on and started.
Oh yeah,
it.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's so, especially in the 80s and 90s, it was so cartoonish. I mean, it kind of was like big live action figures, you know, like battling it out. And if you just sort of go back to that mindset, like, don't try to overthink it, just go with it. Like, don't be like, okay, this makes no sense. Wasn't this guy fighting this guy? Didn't this guy do this? There's no continuity. There's no consistency. It's just its own weird, self-contained form of entertainment. You know, I mean, I went to WrestleMania with Brian Altano and Scott Bromley, and they hadn't watched wrestling in 20 years. They had a good time, because it's like, you don't really need to know what's going on. You just enjoy it.
I would say that's how the Dragon Ball movies are. Like, the latest one is about this, like they sort of kind of pretend that most of this stuff didn't really sort of happen. Like, you kind of have to sort of know who the characters are, but the basic details aren't really relevant. But this purple cat wakes up in a pyramid in space, and he's like, "I've been asleep for millions of years. What's changed?" They're like, "There's this really strong guy." "Oh yeah?" And they're having like a birthday party, and the cat shows up, and he's like, "Hey, I'm here to fight you." And they're like, "Won't you have some treats first?" And he's like, "Fine, I think I will." And like, that's people hated it. Like, a lot of hardcore like DBZ fans were not into it, but it's like, it's exactly as stupid as Dragon Ball should be. Like, they actually, I think Funimation did a really good job with the dub. Like, they managed to just throw in some goofy jokes and stuff in it. The whole thing is written by Toriyama, who I think is just, he's kind of like they had him working like to the point that it was detrimental to his health. Like, he was cranking out the manga pages and just like working on the show, and it was just this kind of just big locomotive thing. And I think after a while he was just really burnt out, and now he's coming back to it and he's working on it. And
Yeah, there's a new show supposed to start in July, I think. That's what I heard.
There's a new movie coming out.
Maybe I know the movie just came out, though, I thought.
Yeah, I just watched the trailer for it.
Resurrection of Aphro.
Right.
Yeah, that just
the
came
anime
out.
trailer.
New show, really?
That's what I heard from somebody. I
Oh.
could be wrong. I have to research.
I could check that
But-
out. That sounds fun.
But yeah, that'd be cool.
What did you think of the trailer for the new Dragon Ball movie?
I think that whatever the trailer shows, it's like, I don't know how to make up Japanese trailers. Like, they're just like, here's some text, then a thing.
No, actually, was it James or Markowitz dragged me in and was like, is there any Japanese I need to know? And it's like, no, it's just the name of the studio and the people who do the main song. You're not missing out on anything. It's people shouting at each other that they're going to fight each other.
Yeah.
It's very much just all about the action.
Last time they made Goku red. This time they made Frieza gold. They're just doing weird palette swaps and stuff. But
Hey, whatever works.
yeah, but yeah, like I feel like you should probably watch the most recent Dragon Ball Z movie and just go in cold and see what happens, because
All right.
it's really silly.
I'll do that, and then you watch either NXT or Monday Night Raw and get back to me and tell me what you think. Because I feel like it's all just about letting it go. And that's the fun thing about anime is weird, crazy stuff happen. Like, I also watch Fully Cooley.
Oh,
What the hell is going on in that show? I mean, I love it. It's so weird, but it's
surreal.
That's the
It's
best part about it.
surreal.
Is that it's
Yeah.
just crazy.
Had
Yeah,
you never
and
seen it
like, it's
before?
fun to pick
No,
apart.
I'd never
Oh,
seen
wow.
it before. So I did an entire anime. I actually wrote this down, so I wouldn't have to remember. But I had a whole anime
That is a
binge
list, girlfriend.
that I did. And
Yay.
because Miranda's like, here are the shows you should watch, and then I wanted to watch all the ones we recommended to the audience, so that I could be totally up to date on what's going on. And I even had notes about what I thought about them, which nobody cares, but it was mostly for my reference. But yeah, so I watched.
Naruto, boy. Haruko, girl.
Yeah, I was like, I can't remember all the names for all these characters sometimes unless
That's okay.
they really stand out. So
think it's
I was
okay.
like,
I think it's more fun when you come up with things like Underwear Man.
Underwear Man. Yeah,
I
Underwear Man
think
is
we should
really
just
not
have a
Goku
show.
and is kidnapping Monkey Boy.
Dedicated to all these like alternative names that you have to come up with to keep like ensemble cast straight.
Yeah, and I'm not making fun of people who love Dragon Ball. I'm making fun of myself because I don't know what's going on. So I just dove in.
You realize that
head
that's
first.
confusing, because in Dragon Ball there's an entire like dynasty of people whose names are derived from underwear. Like, there's Dr. and Mrs. Briefs, their daughter Bloomers, and her kid Trunks, and his sister
Is that really where Trunks' name comes from?
Yes.
Are you dead serious?
I'm 100% serious.
Oh, Japan, I love you so much.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was Trunks like
No,
like
so you
tree
say underwear
trunk.
man like that, you have to be more specific.
Oh, okay.
I think you're referring to Radish.
It's like the dino. Yeah,
He's
it's
from
like
the vegetable people. Not to be confused with the musical
Are
instrument
they
people.
all from different planets? Is there like vegetable planet and underwear planet?
Kind of. There's just different group. Like, I think Toriyama was just like, I'm not even going to remember these names. So he's just like, all right, this is the dairy squad. Here's milk, butter, cheese, cream, yogurt.
Oh, it's fantastic. Oh,
Anime.
now it makes me want to watch
Yep.
this show even more.
So the new Dragon Ball is called Dragon Ball Absalon. I
What?
guess it's like the next episode
What?
in this series. I don't exactly
What?
know.
How did I not hear about
So
this?
I don't know if this is
Mind
actually
blown.
new because like what this site is saying.
Wait a
on
minute.
dragonblogs.com. So I don't know their
Dragon
credibility or
Blog
anything.
Z.
That's the first thing I found. Yeah, Dragon Blogs. Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
Anyway, they said that it's the next episode for their series that's releasing on July 30th in 2015, and there's gonna be a 30-minute episode. It's like the third episode. What happened to the other two? I don't know, but
I'm really confused by that. It's bizarre.
yeah. So there's always just so many just like Dragon Ball blah, and like there's just so many of those that it's weird to keep in order.
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
like a fan project.
Okay.
Maybe no, I don't know.
Yeah, like right. If you
It
scroll
could
up.
be.
do you play the Dragon Ball games
Yeah.
at all, like Xenoverse?
A little bit here and there.
Yeah.
They're kind of all over the place. There've been like a handful that have been legitimately solid, really good games. I don't know. Xenoverse was basically fan fiction, the game, because you made your own character, and then they're like, we use time travel to explain how this fits in the continuity. They're like, somebody went back and screwed up the game so that you can fight people that normally would be your friend, but they're possessed by evil purple stuff, so beat them up.
I think we just need a chart of all the Dragon Ball Z properties and Dragon Ball.
There's one Dragon Ball Z movie, so I don't know if it's Z or what it is, but it's really, really depressing and weird. It's a TV special they put out that's about like Goku's like great grandson, who is basically just a regular human kid, but he's just like this, like he's bullied at school, and basically this whole like magical world of Dragon Ball is like really, really normal, and it's like more or less modern day, and it's I remember just watching it, just being really depressed by it, and he like him and his fat like goofy friend, I think it might be even his bully, he like befriends him, and they go on this quest to find like a Dragon Ball. Not because they want to make a wish, but it's like the one that belonged to like Goku's grandpa, and they like go on this weird adventure, but it's all like, as opposed to like Dragon Ball, which is like, oh, there's like a bear trying to steal you, and oh, you get a motorcycle that fits into a tiny capsule, or like, oh, make friends with the sea turtle. It's all just like, we got to hitchhike. It's just like it's all raining the whole time. It's messed up.
That's super depressing.
Aww.
It's like what Dragon Ball would be in real life. And you're like, I don't want to see that. I want to see all sorts of magical stuff
I
happen.
want to see more guys screaming.
Yeah, I want to see. I want
Hair
to
growth.
people. What is it? Be Saiyans or whatever. What is
Yeah, Scions.
Saiyans.
Yeah,
Shows
So-
what I know.
he's transforming into a Kia Sorrento.
So Absalon is fan made, so it's pretty cool that they have their own little
Okay.
thing going.
By
But
the way, the actor who was in here that I brought up from LA, he was the voice of Cell on Dragon Ball.
I know. I tried to get him to autograph my Majin Buu figure.
He didn't do it?
No, he was busy. But
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
we had Mr. Handsome Jack.
Yeah, we did. I'm wearing my Hyperion tank top.
Nice.
And but yeah, and I was just like, oh, by the way, he was Cell on the 90s anime. So yeah, it's a lot. It's amazing how a lot of voice actors and a lot of actors seem like to have gotten their start in like 90s anime and
Totally.
stuff like that, which I think is super cool. Like one of the actors on Daredevil was the voice of Balthier in Final Fantasy 12 and did Dragon Age stuff with Gideon Emery. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right.
Huh.
It's sort of amazing how it all sort of like games and anime all tie back into like larger projects and how it went from something small to something major for everyone, from consumers to actors. So there's my random rant of the day.
I like how in the original Akira dub, you've got Leonardo, the voice of Leonardo the Ninja Turtle is the voice of Kaneda, and the voice of Kai is actually the lady who, oh, no, that's not Kai, it's one of the little sick kids is the voice of Rita Repulsa, or it's Rita Repulsa from Power Rangers.
Oh my gosh.
And if you
I didn't
like
even put
watch that
together.
first dub and listen back to it, it's like you can totally hear that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's amazing. You know what's funny is when I was a little kid, like there are people be like Ron Paulson, who's like
Oh, I love
Ron
Paulson.
Paulson. He's like in everything,
Yeah,
but as a
he's-
kid, I never pieced it together. I'd be like, "Gosh, that sounds like Raphael from Ninja Turtles," and it would be him, but I wouldn't recognize Rob Paulson's.
right.
Like I'd never seen him, but I always heard his voice and
So
everything growing up.
I apparently have a weird ear for voice actors, but Rob Paulson's been in a handful of movies. and I've heard him. You know, he's Mighty Max. He's Raphael. He's all these different cartoon characters. I was watching Body Double, which is this weird old 80s movie, and there's a porno scene. And
please tell me Rob Paulson was in
that
porno
up a
scene.
lot during this episode.
It's an anime podcast. I don't know what you want.
I mean,
She brought up harems. He's bringing up porn.
Yeah.
This is just.
I
This
just
is
always
just
bring up harems, I guess.
It's weird because it's
Par
a
for the course.
Frankie Goes to Hollywood music video, but it's also a porn scene. It's a really weird movie. Brian De Palma. Anyway, but Body Double, the director's assistant is Rob Paulson, and he has one line which I don't think I can even say on this podcast.
Probably not.
But it's a thing that
Can you clean it up? Not really.
I think it's something to the effect of you didn't get the money shot. But it's like one line, but it's Rob Paulson saying it, so he's like, well, he's got that Rob
He's
Paulson
a really
voice.
he was also in Spaceballs.
Was he?
He was one of the guys who was combing the desert.
Oh wow, okay.
I think his line was "Not a thing, sir." I think that was him.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's weird to recognize an actor whose face you don't know by one sentence that they say.
Yeah, but it's amazing like how I would like hear the same voices in different anime and different shows growing up, but I wouldn't piece it together that was the same person every time. It'd be like, oh wow, that sounds like this person who sounds like this person who sounds it's like Wacko and Yakko and Dot. Oh, I've heard them in other things.
I'm kind of starting to get that too with like some of the more recent anime I've seen. There's some really, really popular and prominent voice actors, and you can kind of hear them doing similar roles across different shows. I remember there's 2 shows last season, and it's like that's the same voice.
It's like Crispin Freeman and like Liam O'Brien and like certain character actors who come up again and again and again for anime.
Yeah.
They're like in the anime loop group, and you're like, oh, Liam O'Brien, I recognize your voice yet again. Which they're really good actors, so that's the good news. But you're like, yeah, but you've been in everything.
Well, I mean, I think that happens across like industries, right? So like Nolan North for video games, right? And
True.
like,
Or now Troy Baker, I guess.
yeah, Troy Baker.
Troy Baker's taken over Nolan North's job.
Yeah. So
But,
I think
yeah.
you're just gonna kind of see like the same names crop up in that circle because
But you can tell why is because they're basically one takes for these really complex things. Where in anime, you're like, the heck is Goku and why am I screaming at Trunks? And these actors can make it sound legit. So that's the good news is that because back in the 90s, sometimes you wouldn't have professional voice actors. You would have like literally the janitor, the person transcribing the Japanese, they'd throw them in the voice booth and be like, go.
There's one anime I really, really want to see that's called Mad Bull 34. And I've only seen like supercuts of it on YouTube, but it's basically, it just looks like the most offensive mess. It's about a cop who's I think called like Mad Bull or something, or like that's his code name or something, but he's basically like, just like picture like a big like burly like muscular like cop just in like a police uniform, not like a cool plainclothes or anything, not Miami Vice, just like a hat and a badge, and he's got a big old dumb mustache, and he gets partnered with some like new rookie cop, but this guy's just like think anime Dirty Harry, and he's just like shooting people. But then the American dub of it, they just were like, what if we put swear words everywhere for no reason? There's just like these super cuts where it's just like it's like Tourette's guy, like it's just so offensive on every level, and I'm like, I want that on Blu-ray. Like, I want this incredibly bad just product, but in like the highest quality possible.
What was it called again?
Mad
It's
Bull
called
34.
Mad Bull 34.
Mad Bull 34. Okay, I'm gonna look
Yeah.
that up after the show.
That'll be
Sounds
the
amazing.
unofficial watch party.
Yeah, yeah, it's sort of the
Maybe.
unofficial.
Look up the supercut
after
on YouTube.
hours.
It's
after
a
hours
blast.
watch party.
Interesting.
Speaking of watch party,
Yeah,
do we get to talk about it?
let's talk about Anime Watch
I
Party.
want to talk about it.
Yeah. So we have the winner from your votes. We had quite a few votes.
Shall we
Very
do a
happy.
little bit of a
10,000.
drum roll?
Yeah.
All right. And the winner is Cowboy Bebop.
Hell yeah.
Yay! So it was not really that close. It had 35% of the votes, almost 36%. The next thing was Gurren Lagann, and that was at 24%.
Yay!
And everything else was just like dropped crazy. So it's like, okay, cool. I see what you guys want to watch. We also had like a lot of awesome suggestions for the other. Like, thank you guys for actually sending things and not just voting and be like, okay, I'm done. So awesome. We know what you guys want to watch, so we can kind of figure out things for future watch parties. So let's actually watch the show. we'll have the schedule posted with the article that goes up with this video on IGN. So make sure you check that out if you want to know exactly when we're watching what. The way we figured it out is that we'll watch 2 episodes every week. So I don't think that's too much for anybody to watch, and it's just enough to have enough to talk about.
This also just hit Blu-ray, and it looks gorgeous.
Yeah, it's
and it was already gorgeous to begin with.
But I mean, you can see like the labels on liquor bottles and stuff like that. It's incredible.
Yeah, so like one of the things that was super important for us was finding a show that you guys could watch and get easily. It's like $30 on Blu-ray, $40.
It's something reasonable like
I mean,
that,
it's not that expensive. And then, I mean, just save your pennies. Like, just don't buy a cappuccino that day. Just a few days. That, or it's also on Funimation and Hulu, and I believe you can watch those free with ads.
Oh wow!
I did. That's how I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
So it's super easy to do, and it looks great.
Yeah. So there's plenty of ways for you guys to watch it. That was super important for us, so you guys can actually access it. And as you're watching it, we have a hashtag, so you guys can tweet questions or whatever. I mean, it's like really short and stupid.
IGN-ame?
IGN-ame. I know. That's really bad.
That's awesome. I don't know what you're talking about.
So I just wanted something super short so you guys could put as much as you needed to in your tweets. So it's hashtag IGN and then IME. So they'll put that on the show notes.
IGN-ame.
Yeah, so we'll start watching that next week. So send us your questions, your feedback. If you guys are like live watching it and you have a favorite character, just tell us. We'll love to talk about it.
The answer is Spike. The answer is Spike.
Spike is great.
Spike is the best.
But I don't know if he's the best.
He's the best.
Uh-oh.
Okay, fine.
This sounds like
the dog
this
is
is
also
for
cool.
another time.
guys.
Yeah.
Next week.
So starting next week, 2 episodes. So the first 2 episodes, make sure you watch that and give us your feedback. I want to talk about it. It's good.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to tweet or compliment us. Hopefully compliment us just throughout the week. It doesn't have to just be about Cowboy Bebop. It can be
What
about...
is that? First 2 episodes are Asteroid Blues and Stray Dog Strut, is it?
I think so.
Okay.
The first 2 episodes are good though. They're so weird. It's like, okay, this is the show I'm watching.
If you're not into it at the first 2 episodes, give it up until the 5th episode. It really picks up
It's
around
like
there.
the standard rule for most anime. Just watch.
Yeah, I like your
first few
rule of
episodes.
3, which is a really good thing because I would have quit a couple of these anime if I hadn't watched more of it. But it does pick up. And I actually watched Cowboy Bebop back in the day, and I did initially like it. Now I like it more as an adult. So it's also sort of a thing where you do have to get past. Like I watched the first episode years ago, didn't like it. Now I watched it again, liked it a little bit more, and then as I go into it, it gets good. So, yep.
Yay! So now we have our show.
Yes. So do we want to give out our Twitter handles so that people can actually tweet
so
questions and comments at us?
End of the show. I'm gonna do the Twitter handles.
Okay.
Pass around as always.
I'm ready.
I'm Havoc Rose. Havoc with a K. So that's cool.
Okay.
Meghan.
I am pretty easy. Meghan, MEGHAN _IGN.
Alaina.
Oh, me. I thought we were going around the table.
That's
I
for
am
last.
at Morphing Ball. That is a Super Metroid reference. That is not a reference to medicine that is addictive.
You're one of those Mighty Morphine Power Rangers. All right, I'm Max Scoville. That's just my name.
So easy.
You can find me on Twitter at that name.
So easy.
Cool.
Perfect.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining us. I hope you're excited for our anime watch party.
Yeah.
And let us know what you guys think. Thanks for joining us, Max.
Of course,
Yes,
yeah. I
hopefully.
will probably force my way in here to talk about Cowboy Bebop because no one else will listen to me when I do that.
And Studio Ghibli.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to
We
hit
didn't
Ghibli
hit that.
stuff.
Nope.
Well, we did a little bit, and
It's
I
probably-
wanted to tell you that there's an amazing box set of Blu-ray Studio Ghibli collection, but only in the UK. So.
Yep. F that.
Yep.
F those regions.
Anyway, so sad day. We don't get all the cool stuff.
Yep.
Anime Club.
Anime Club.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye-bye. Bye.